So let's continue our educational journey with Cédric Ringenbach. Please come on stage. Cédric, you rose to fame as the creator of the workshop Climate Fresque. Maybe some of you have already seen Climate Fresque here in the venue. You're a man on a mission who wants to reassure that everyone, no matter your age, is well educated in climate change. Lifelong learning, that's important. So thanks for joining us on ChangeNOW. For the people who know already Climate Fresque, who knows it? Maybe do a little poll. Oh, wow, you did some good publicity here. Yeah.
Who played it?
Who's not aware?
Who's a moderator? Nice. Who's a trainer of moderator? Wow.
So it's just your fan base who's sitting here. That's really nice. So is there anyone who doesn't know the Climate Fresque? Because that was my first question. Can you pitch your project?
Yeah, I will be quick in this case. It's a workshop that is half a day long. It consists in having people around the table. They have 42 cars that they have to put in order of cause and effect. And by doing that, it's a very efficient way to learn the causes and consequences of climate change. And after this moment where it's about thinking about it, a reflection moment, and learning moment, after that moment we also have a discussion about what can be done to lower our impact on climate change. Now that we have understood that it's an important topic, what can we do about it?
All right, it's just not only the knowledge, but it's also the action.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. And how did you come up with the idea of Climate Fresque?
Okay, so I was teaching climate change for a long time because I trained myself by reading IPCC reports a long time ago.
The 2,000 pages.
No, not the 2,000 pages, only the technical summaries. Oh. So it's like 500.
Oh, only 500
only
pages. Oh, okay.
500 pages. And so, yeah, it's very interesting, but if you're not an engineer, I guess it's a bit harsh. So I was teaching climate change very often with friends of mine, colleagues, etc. And then one day I tried a format, printing a few slides of my presentation, in fact, and asking them to try if I see connections between these different components of climate change. And I took a step back and I was listening to the conversation. And you know, sometimes it was hesitating, etc. But I was feeling that it was the right way to learn about it, because you make mistakes, you correct yourself, you disagree, you argue, etc. And at the end, when you really understand how it works, it fixes the ideas in your brain. So I decided that it should be a way to teach climate change every time I do it, and I improved the workshop every time I used it, and that's how it became the Climate Fresque. Okay. And that was in 2015, the creation.
All right, and then your inspiration, you got it from Jean-Marc Jancovici, if I pronounce it correctly. Jancovici.
Yeah, that's how I came to care about climate. In fact, I saw a conference online of Jean-Marc Jancovici, and it was a real inspiration, a real slap in the face. And then later, so I went on listening to his conferences, etc. And later, I decided that it should be my full-time job. And then a year later, I started to work with him as the CEO of the Shift project. This is a think tank that works on how to decarbonize the economy. So I was very happy to be in this position, because during 6 years, I was paid to work on interesting things. Not everybody does that. Mm-hmm. And I met a lot of interesting people. I learned a lot of interesting things. And aside this job, I was also teaching climate change. And then that's how I decided later, when I left the Shift project, I decided to spread it more largely.
Yeah, and Climate Fresque it's quite a success now, because 3/4 of the audience already knows it and has been in a workshop or is a facilitator. So how do you explain the success of Climate Fresque?
I think it's because it's based on science, so it's not something. It's not something of a climate activist. It's not identified as something activist, or it's and. So then people are confident with the content. I think that's one reason. The other reason is that it spreads organically, because you have 10 people playing the game, for instance. One of them, two of them, decide to become moderator themselves. They can train themselves very easily. It's between half a day and 1 day of learning to become a moderator, a facilitator. And then once they are facilitator, they organize it with the family, with the friends, with colleagues, etc. And that's how it spreads. So at the beginning of the project, the doubling time, you know, in science we use the doubling time. It was 5 months. Yeah, it has slowed down a little bit, but today outside France, it's about the same rhythm, doubling time of 5-6 months.
Okay, but there's still a challenge for other countries, right?
Yeah, yeah. So very quickly, the game has been translated by volunteers. People who did the workshop said, "Did you do it in I don't know, Lithuanian?" And I said, "No, I give you the Excel sheet and you do it." And then we had the game translated in a few languages, and up to 50 languages today, something like that. And then we have people in many countries. We have country coordinator in almost 100 countries, and so they are official representative of the association, and they animate a bunch of Fresqueurs, a community of Fresqueurs locally. And the next step is that they will be able to organize themselves into an association, a foundation, or whatever, and to go on spreading, having more autonomy. We want to give them the means, financial means, to go even quicker, as we did in France. That's the challenge. To give them contacts, institutional relations, etc., and autonomy, so that it can grow as quick as possible, as the same we did in France, and even quicker.
Okay, because it's already quite a movement. No, if I have it wrong, 1.5 million people already played the game. There's 67,000 Fresqueurs, but your ambition goes way further than that, right?
Yeah, when you talk about exponential, you count the number of zeros. So the next step is 1 million. The next target that we have is 1 million Fresqueurs.
And the goal is 2025?
No, 25. Maybe in 3 years.
All right.
And if not, in 4 years.
Yeah, so everyone who's not yet...
Yeah, if you're not a Fresqueur yet, then go and train yourself. And especially if you're in another country, because we really lack Fresqueurs in other countries. And welcome in the adventure.
What's the top 5 of countries you're lacking people?
Wow, I hope I won't make any mistakes, but it should be something like after France, I think it's Belgium, Switzerland, UK, Germany, Spain, something like that.
All right. People noticed your passion, they noticed your experience. You were invited in the COP28 in Dubai. And you joined the talk on youth, education and skills.
Yes, youth, education and skills. Like if education about climate was only for kids. And it's years since there is this day written like that. And every COP, you know, in COPs there are topical days. One about the forest, one about indigenous people, one about youth, education and skills. So I don't really like the idea that education should be only for kids, because as a matter of fact, I read the IPCC report, and the summary part is not called summary for kids, nor summary for next generation. It's called summary for policymakers. So IPCC works to enlighten, to bring knowledge to policy makers, not to the next generation, because they have to learn how to deal with the shit that they will have to deal with because of us. Okay. So the proposal that we make to UNFCCC and to the organizers of Next COP is to have 2 different days, one about youth. And the day about youth is to have young people come on stage and kick everybody else's ass, because that's what they deserve, to kick negotiators' ass, because they will really die because of climate change a few decades later. And that's what a day about youth is about, and not about we will teach the kids how to I don't know, to clean beaches or something like that. It's not the issue. And then another day about education, about climate change, and also about how to manage skills, because we need to change skills. So you have a job today, maybe you have a different job tomorrow in order to deal with this transition. But especially education, training, long life training, as you said, it has to be for everybody, and focus this day on policymakers, on negotiators, because I can testify that negotiators themselves don't know much about climate change. And then bosses of big companies, politicians, all these people, they really have to do it. And in fact, there is a topic in UNFCCC that is called ACE. ACE is for Action for Climate Empowerment. And ACE comes from the article number 6 of the UNFCCC, the convention. The UNFCCC is Convention of the United Nations on Climate Change. So in the original convention, there is an article about information, education, involvement of the public, etc. And in Article 12 of Paris Agreement, we have another article that also says that countries need to involve on this topic. And this topic, ACE, is really the one that is far, far below at the bottom of the agenda. At the last COP, they didn't even manage to write a text. So the lobbying that we try to have during the COPs, and we need to gather a few NGOs, and if you are involved in an international NGO, you'll be welcome to discuss about that with us. Gather NGOs to sign a manifesto to bring ACE on the top of the agenda, and then to also have some official sponsorship from different countries. So France should be okay, and we hope to have Brazil alongside to bring this idea in Baku next year. And even if we fail in Baku, I hope we will be able to do it in Brazil.
All right. Your statement is also climate literacy. It's really not only for pupils and students, it's for everyone, no? Because you notice that people of your age did not know anything, or at least very little.
Not enough, at least, yeah.
Not enough, yeah.
Yeah, not enough. And I think it's something we don't really, people who are aware of climate change, they don't really measure how important it is to bring knowledge to the rest of the people. And I experienced something quite weird. More than 10 years ago, when I gave my first lectures about climate change, one day I was presenting something and I was thinking, why am I saying that? Because everybody should know that. And then a few seconds later, I realized, how can I think that? Because 1 year ago, I didn't know that. So why should these people be aware of what I say here? And in fact, once you get to know a topic, you feel like you think that everybody knows it. It feels natural for you. And you don't measure how important it is to bring this knowledge to the rest of the people. So myself, I met people who were at the COP number 1. I met people who were in Rio a long time ago. So, and these people were 100% of their time working on action. And it's great, we need that. But I think that they suffer the same bias as me, thinking everybody should know that. And they don't spend enough time on bringing this awareness to the rest of the people. And
the awareness, that's the first step to
it's the first step. Yeah.
Have some emotion and to come to action. Yeah. So this is your platform. What would your call to action be for the people sitting here if they're not yet
if they're not yet a Fresquer.
In a climate Fresquer.
So if you're not a Fresquer, you can become a Fresquer. That's the first part. Yeah, really stay aware that knowledge is the first step of change. It's called ChangeNOW. So if you want to change now, you need to first understand the topic, and then later you will be able to act. And in order to act, you also need to train yourself. For instance, you get trained on carbon footprint. Then you don't make a confusion between the little these little gesture of every day when you switch off the light, something like that, and you're able to compare that with taking the plane or not. You see, yeah, it's not same level. And maybe I would like to say why I'm still I still have hope that we're going to make it, because when I think about it, I think that the best ideas to save the world will come from the people who are still not aware of it today. And do you know why? Because they are so much more numerous than us. There is so many people who are still not aware that when we go and get them, when we bring awareness to them, we will be much more people thinking about the problem, and then it will be much easier to solve.
So every one of these people should give a lecture,
spread knowledge,
spread the word, do a
sensitize
climate Fresque
people,
workshop.
Climate Fresque, or any other thing, conferences, other workshops.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
And who else could accelerate your work? Who do you need to cooperate with?
Basically, almost everybody. In fact, if you are in a company, make sure that the Climate Fresque is already spread rolled out in your company. We also need politicians to be on board. We need any international network can be useful for us. If you have country coordinators yourself in different countries, we will put them in contact with our own country coordinators, and then they will see what they can do together. Then we need all the skills needed for a big movement like that. So, yeah, any help is welcome.
All right, Cédric, I hope you succeed in your ambitions, and I wish you all the best improving climate literacy in the world for all ages. May I have a round of applause for Cédric Ringenbach.
Thank you.